Hello, it's Mr. Mahi here, and today we're going to talk about cars. More specifically, should I buy a brand new car? So you want to buy a brand new car. Let's say you walk into a dealership and the first thing you need to think about is smashing the like button for the YouTube algorithm. Now, once you've smashed the like button, you have to realize that cars are typically a depreciating asset. What this means is that they go down in value over time. In other words, if you buy a car, like most other things, it will be worth less in the future. The difference, however, is that when you buy these other things, they are typically quite cheap. And so if the value goes down, it's not too big of an issue. However, with a car, if we're forking out tens of thousands of dollars for it to only lose value over time, this is a lot of money that is effectively disappearing. And so for that reason, my first recommendation is to ask yourself, do I really need to buy a car? Can I just rely on public transport? As you get older and you start to get more competing demands in your time, then getting a car might make more sense. But if you're just going back and forth from uni and hanging out with friends in the city, then maybe a car really isn't needed. But let's say that you do need a car. My suggestion would be to purchase a second-hand car rather than a brand new one. When you buy a brand new car, as soon as you drive it off the dealership, the value of the car has instantly dropped by around 10%. Now you're probably wondering, what do you mean by the value of the car? What I mean is that if you tried to sell that brand new car straight after you bought it, most people would only pay 90% of the amount that you paid. Why is this? The reason is because now the car is technically a second-hand car. In addition to this, even if they're willing to pay you the full 100% cost of the car, why would they go to you? Wouldn't they just go to the dealer and buy it from them? Now, this is just as soon as you buy it. But once you have the car and you've driven it for at least a year, the value of the car typically would have dropped around 25 to 30% of its original value. And then for every year that you own it, the value of the car drops again by another 17.5%. Obviously, there are many factors that go into the amount that the car depreciates by. For example, how many kilometers it has been driven, how well it's been maintained, and a lot of other stuff. But the general trend for majority of cars on the market is that it will drop by around 17.5%. So for example, let's say you've saved up enough money to buy the brand new 2020 Toyota GR Supra, which costs around $100,000. As soon as you sign the papers and you have the keys in your hand, the value of the car is now worth 10% less, which is $90,000. But then after a year, it will drop by 17.5% of the $90,000, which works out to be around $74,000. And then for every year after that, it will continue to drop by 17.5% of the previous year's value. Now here's the thing, you may have noticed something interesting with the drop in value as the car gets older. You can see that as time goes on, the drop in value begins to slow down. This is the reason why I recommend that you purchase a reliable second-hand car over a brand new car. To see this more clearly, let's look at an example. Let's say I've saved up $40,000 and I want to buy a car. What this means is that as soon as I buy it, it's lost 10% of its value, which makes it around $36,000. And then let's say after a year, I decide on selling the car. Since a year has passed, it has dropped by another 17.5%, which means that I'd only be able to sell this car for around $29,700. This means in the space of 1 year, I have effectively lost more than $10,000 due to the drop in value of this car. But let's say instead of getting a brand new car, I wait 3 years to buy the exact same car, but obviously as a second-hand car. As a result of waiting these 3 years, the original $40,000 car has depreciated down to around $20,000. I buy the car, and then let's say I sell it a year later. Well, that car will still depreciate by 17.5%, but this percentage is a lot smaller in terms of the dollar amount compared to before. As you can see, with a year later, I would be able to resell the car for $16,500, which works out to be a drop of only $3,500. I still get to drive the exact same car, but this time I lose less money over the year than before. But now you're probably thinking, since I've saved up $40,000 for a car, what happens if I just buy a $40,000 second-hand car instead? So in other words, here is a car that originally costed $80,000, but since it's now around 3 to 4 years old, the value of the car is now $40,000. Well, would you still lose more than $10,000 like in the case where you bought a brand new car at $40,000? Well, let's have a look. So since it's not a brand new car, there isn't that sudden 10% drop when you buy the car. But you still get the 17.5% drop for driving the car every year. Well, if I decide to sell the car after 1 year, I'd be able to sell it for $33,000, which is only $7,000 drop, compared to the $10,000 plus drop when you bought a brand new $40,000 car. And so as you can see, purchasing a secondhand car is more often than not the better financial decision than purchasing a brand new car. And that's it for this video. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a like, and don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already done so. And with that, I'll catch you in the next video.